The office was quiet that afternoon, just the soft hum of an air conditioner and the sound of a door closing. A man sat behind a large desk, fingers lightly folded, watching the last candidate of the day walk out through the glass doors of the 14th floor. His assistant leaned in. "That's everyone for today, Mr. Carter." He nodded slowly, didn't say a word. Because in that moment, Daniel Carter wasn't thinking about the candidates he had just interviewed. He was thinking about a cold Tuesday morning 11 years ago, when he was the one walking out of an office, head down, hands empty, rejected, again. That was rejection number 40, and this is his story. Daniel Carter grew up in Columbus, Ohio. Not rich, not poor, just ordinary. His father worked at a print shop on Broad Street for 30 years. His mother cleaned houses in the suburbs every weekend to make sure Daniel and his younger sister could eat something warm every night. They weren't a family of big dreams. They were a family of steady ones. So when Daniel graduated from Ohio State University with a business degree in 2009, he believed, truly believed, that the rest was simple. Study hard, get the degree, get the job, build the life. What nobody told him was that he was graduating into the worst job market in decades. The 2008 financial crash had swallowed thousands of companies whole. Hiring freezes everywhere. Offices that once posted 10 openings were now posting 0. But Daniel wasn't discouraged, not yet. He polished his resume. He wore his best shirt, a pale blue button-down his mother had ironed 3 times. He walked into his first interview at a marketing firm in downtown Columbus with his chin up and his handshake firm. He didn't get a call back. That's okay, he told himself. First one, keep going. Rejection number 1 came by email. 2 lines, no explanation. Rejection number 5 came after a second interview that he thought had gone well. The hiring manager had even laughed at his joke. Rejection number 12 came with a note. "We found a candidate with more experience." More experience. He was 23 years old. Where was he supposed to get experience if no one would hire him first? By rejection number 20, Daniel had applied to companies in Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. He had driven to interviews in a car that burned more oil than gas. He had rehearsed answers in parking lots. He had ironed that pale blue shirt so many times the collar had started to fray. His friends from college were slowly finding jobs. One by one, their LinkedIn profiles updated. New titles, new cities, new beginnings. Daniel's profile hadn't changed since graduation. He moved back into his childhood bedroom at 24. The same room with the same posters on the wall, the same creaking floorboard near the window. His father never said anything harsh, but Daniel could feel it. That quiet worry that lives in a parent's eyes when they don't know how to help their child. His mother would leave a plate of food outside his door on the nights he didn't come down for dinner. He applied to 30 jobs in 1 month. He got 4 interviews, 0 offers. Rejection number 33 broke something in him. It wasn't even a big company. It was a small logistics firm in Akron, entry-level coordinator position. The salary was modest. The office looked tired. Daniel had thought, surely this one. The interviewer had glanced at his resume for maybe 40 seconds before asking him why he had such a long gap in employment. Daniel had explained the market, the timing, the effort. The interviewer had nodded politely. The rejection came the next morning. That night, Daniel sat in his car outside a Kroger on Hamilton Road. The engine was off. The windows were fogging up from the cold. And for the first time since graduation, he didn't feel angry. He didn't feel motivated. He felt nothing, just emptiness. He called his college friend Marcus, who had landed a comfortable sales job in Chicago. "Maybe it's just not for you, man," Marcus said, not unkindly. "Maybe try something else. Driving, warehouse work, anything to just get moving again." Daniel stared at the steering wheel for a long time after that call ended. He thought about his father, 30 years at a print shop, steady, faithful, tired. He thought about his mother's hands, rough from years of work. And then he thought, what if this is just my life? What if I'm not meant for more than this? He almost believed it. Almost. It was a Thursday in February when Daniel saw the listing. A small startup in Austin, Texas, a company called Bridgepoint Consulting, barely 2 years old, a team of 8 people working out of a rented office space near South Congress Avenue. They were looking for a junior business analyst. The pay was low, the company was unknown. Austin was 1,200 miles from Columbus. Daniel had never been to Texas in his life. He applied, not with hope. He had long since stopped hoping. He applied simply because stopping felt worse than trying. 2 days later, he got an email. Not a rejection, an interview request. He drove to Austin, 14 hours, alone, with $70 in his pocket and a bag of gas station snacks on the passenger seat. The interview was in a small glass-fronted office on the second floor of a converted warehouse. The founder of Bridgepoint, a woman named Sarah Okafor, met him at the door herself. She didn't ask about his gap in employment. She asked him what he had learned from the last 2 years. Daniel paused. No one had ever asked him that, and then he talked. Really talked. About the patterns he had noticed in job markets, about the industries that were quietly growing while others collapsed, about a small business plan he had been building alone in his notebook, not to impress anyone, just because he needed something to think about besides rejection. Sarah listened without interrupting. At the end, she leaned back and said, "You've been studying this whole time without realizing it. I think that's exactly what we need." He got the call the next morning. After 40 rejections, 1 yes. Daniel moved to Austin with 1 suitcase and a notebook full of ideas. He worked harder than anyone in that office, not to prove something to the world, but because for the first time in 2 years, someone had believed in him, and he refused to let that go to waste. Within a year, he had helped Bridgepoint land 3 major clients. Within 3 years, he was leading a team of his own. Sarah Okafor once told a reporter, Daniel saw angles that MBAs from top schools had missed because he had spent 2 years watching, thinking, and surviving. Hunger teaches you things a classroom never can. By 2019, Daniel Carter had left Bridgepoint to start his own firm, Carter Consulting Group, based in Austin, Texas. By 2022, they had 31 employees. By the end of last year, 64. Back in that quiet office on the 14th floor, Daniel Carter stood up, walked to the window, and looked out over the Austin skyline. He thought about rejection number 1, that 2-line email. He thought about rejection number 40, that foggy car window, that emptiness. And he thought about something he had come to understand slowly over years, not in a single moment, but like light coming through a window at dawn. Every door that closed was not the end of his story. It was the shape of it. Those 40 rejections didn't break him. They built him. Each one taught him something about resilience, about people, about himself. And the timing that felt so cruel in the moment, had placed him exactly where he needed to be, exactly when he needed to be there. If he had been hired at rejection number 5, he would have gone to a company that collapsed 18 months later. If he had been hired at rejection number 20, he would have never applied to that small startup in Austin. He would have never met Sarah Okafor. He would have never built what he built. The universe wasn't punishing him during those 2 years. It was preparing him. And maybe that's true for you too. Maybe the job you didn't get wasn't yours to have. Maybe the door that closed last week is saving you from a room you were never meant to stay in. Maybe the waiting you're doing right now isn't wasted time. Maybe it's building time. Don't give up on yourself, not because success is guaranteed, but because you don't yet know what your 41st door looks like, and it might be closer than you think. This has been your story for today. If this reached something inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're in the middle of your own rejections right now, keep going. The universe has a plan, and it never runs on your schedule.